Good morning, spiritual companions. Today we are reading God, the Substance of All Form by Joel S. Goldsmith. Except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it. Psalm 127. Illumination dissolves all material ties and binds men together with the golden chains of spiritual understanding. It acknowledges only the leadership of the Christ. It has no ritual or rule, but the divine, impersonal, universal love. No other worship than the inner flame that is ever lit at the shrine of spirit. This union is the free state of spiritual brotherhood. The only restraint is the discipline of soul. Therefore, we know liberty without license. We are a united universe without physical limits, a divine service to God without ceremony or creed. The illumined walk without fear, by grace, the infinite way. Author's note: the material contained in God, the substance of all form, was originally given to the Victoria Park closed class held in Los Angeles, California, and has been circulated in manuscript form since 1949. This new edition has been edited and completely revised. Chapter 1. Individual Unfoldment of Consciousness. The primary mission of the Infinite Way is inner unfoldment, the revelation of truth from within our own being. The written word is the least important part of this work. That which is not written or spoken is the greater teaching. Human teachers are but temporary helps on the way. Only from within comes the illumination, which makes it possible for some to heal and to be able to teach that the kingdom of God is within you and that you are the fulfillment of God. The real teacher receives inspiration and illumination and is able to impart these only because he has the realization that I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. Therefore, this Father within comes as an impersonal presence to awaken the receptive thought to the divinity of the individual, and they shall be all taught of God. My conscious oneness with God makes me one with all those who are able to receive the word at this level of consciousness. Your conscious oneness with God makes you receptive and responsive to all truth. Wherever there is a receptive thought, God speaks. Wherever spiritual being is manifested, God is present. Since God manifests and expresses its own being as you are as infinite as God, not just a little portion of God. God does not divide itself, but manifests, expresses, reveals, unfolds, and discloses itself as you and as me. It is a state of Christ consciousness in which God speaks, God moves, God acts. When I speak or write about the letter of truth, that is the least part of the activity which is going on in my consciousness. Always, as a teacher of truth, my consciousness is alert and awake and transcends anything concerning the letter of truth which I might impart. That consciousness, which is the divinity of my being, is also the divinity of your being. It is the divine consciousness of you and is arousing you to an awareness of its own divine qualities, nature, and character. Following the spiritual path. Those of you who, in some degree, have been able to receive the light and who have received a measure of unfoldment and inner revelation will recognize that because of that experience, you will never again be quite the same. From that moment on, it is as if you had touched an infinite center of wisdom and knowledge, an infinite presence which guides, guards, directs, protects, maintains, and sustains. Those of you who are on this path, who have not yet had this experience, however, will have it, because, has it not been written, "Ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you." God has brought you to this place of unfoldment and will not suffer you to stray from the path until you have received your illumination. Following the spiritual path, however, calls for perseverance, because this is not an easy way. This is not an easy path. Strait is the gate, and narrow is the way, which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. There are trials on this path, many trials. It is not a path of roses without thorns. You may wonder why, after God has made himself evident in your experience, you ever have an ache or a pain, a trouble or a woe. But I can testify that some of our greatest trials come after we have embarked upon this path, and that it is these very trials which force us out of our physical sense of existence into the spiritual consciousness of life and form. The spiritual path is a path of service. We are not only servants of the Lord, but we are servants to others on this path. In this work, we will not find the world waiting to serve us, but we shall find rather that we are the servants. The Master taught this lesson of service and humility when he washed the feet of his disciples. While we, in this age, are not called upon to perform our servanthood in that manner, we do serve in many other ways. Those who know men and women who have received illumination recognize that their life is one of devotion, not only to God, but to those who come to them for help, to those seeking healing or enlightenment. The Infinite Way and Other Teachings. Each one of us has sought an understanding of God through some particular form of study. Whatever the religious organization or teaching was, it acted as a stepping stone for us to go higher in the understanding of the teaching of the Master. Even though sometimes differences between the Infinite Way and other approaches to truth are pointed out, it must always be remembered that this is done without any sense of criticism or judgment. There can be no judgment of any of these, only love and honor for all of them. The same is true of materia medica. Doctors and nurses are devoting their lives to helping humanity as they see it, and on the physical plane, they are making progress, so we have only love and respect for them. One of the great differences between this message and that of certain metaphysical teachings is that in the Infinite Way, there is not some divine mind or divine love or divine something or other that is going to do anything for you. The infinite way teaches that God, the divine consciousness of your being, is the law unto your being. It is the only law, and it is a law of love. Another difference between this message and others is that we do not attribute any power to this thing, which some people call mortal mind. Many times you have heard the expression, "I wonder what mortal mind is going to do to me today." And it usually does. At one time it was taught and generally believed that there were mental causes for physical diseases, and about this same time there were lists in circulation indicating that if you had rheumatism, it was caused by resentment. If you had cancer, it was caused by hate or jealousy. And if you had something else, it was caused by some other mental or emotional characteristic. Such teachings, however, we do not accept as true. In human belief, no doubt some of this is true. Today, even medical science claims that if you worry enough, you may develop an ulcer. And this is probably true on the purely human plane. However, this has nothing to do with the teaching of the infinite way, in which teaching disease not only has no cause, but actually there is no law of disease. There is nothing whatsoever that is doing anything to us. No, it is some universal belief which at the moment, through ignorance, we are accepting. Through ignorance, we accept the universal belief in a selfhood apart from God. What we have to do is not to examine our own thought to see what wrong thinking we have been doing, but rather see to what extent we are accepting universal beliefs and realize that all universal beliefs are mesmeric suggestions, and that our mind, the one and only mind there is, cannot be used as an instrument to mesmerize or to be mesmerized. Thus we withdraw power from that false sense and gain the consciousness of one power and one presence. There is but one I, or ego, one consciousness, whether it is appearing as you or me. And this is another vital point on which we differ from some current teachings. The infinite way teaches that you are not effect, idea, manifestation, or reflection. You are consciousness appearing. I am the light of the world. I am the way, the truth, and the life. There is only one I. Whether that I appears as you or me, it is the same I. Footnote on I. Wherever I appears in italics, the reference is to God. And your reader does put emphasis on that italicized I, so that you can hear that I is not the me that is reading. Another note, there are many footnotes as we are reading where there are biblical references, but if I stopped reading at every reference, it would take away from the rhythm of this work. So now at the end of the chapter or the section I am reading, I will read all of those references from the beginning of chapter 1. Luke 17:21, John 5:30, John 14:10, John 6:45, John 15:16, Matthew 7:14, John 8:12, John 14:6. A blessed day to you.